Finance Conversations. This is the 69th episode of the Merging Life and Money Show, and I am delighted to be here with you today. For those of you who do not know me, I am your host, Marie-Jo César. I help professional women bridge the gap between life and money by teaching them the relevant financial skills and knowledge they need to take control of their money, manage their finances, and understand that they can live their best life with the money they have. Thank you for joining in today. If you are watching the replay, make sure to type #replay in the chat and leave me some questions and some comments. And I promise to get back to you. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. I come to you live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to share valuable information about how to achieve financial wellness and live your life with means and meaning. Well, today is the last part 4 of our student loan series. My special guest and my regular contributor to my show, Mr. Eric Dudley, will talk to us, he will take us through the whole college planning process. So before getting to it, let me introduce Eric to those of you who do not know him. Eric Dudley is an independent, experienced holistic financial advisor who specializes in retirement planning, investing solution, and life insurance. He's also the founder and president of Dudley Financial Group. And one of his strong goal and main objective is to help his clients build their best tomorrow while protecting them today. So welcome, Eric, to the show. And welcome, followers and listeners. Thank you for joining in today. So I will invite you to grab a pen and a notebook because you would need to take some notes. This is a very important show today because remember, it's about sharing values that could benefit others. So, and as you may know, for those of you who have been following me, the main objective of the Merging Life and Money Show is, and I would say my strong one, is to empower as many people and women in particular as I can by sharing what I know about money and finance and by inviting experts to the show to also share those values. So today's conversation will revolve around college planning, as I mentioned earlier. And Eric, the expert, will first define college planning, then he will explain how college planning makes the college experience better. And lastly, he will show us how college planning helps reduce the cost of college. So, as I mentioned, this episode is the last part of the student loan series. We had 4 parts, and I would urge you to take a look at those episodes because they are really, really informative. So I know that Eric will quickly recap the past shows. So I will just say that every single episode, again, is very, very enlightening. So I will say that with the price of college being what it is no secret that college planning can be overwhelming and can seem impossible to navigate at times. But it's one of the most important things that parents and college-age kids can do together. So not only does it ensure that you are making the most of your education, but it also allows you to stay out of debt. Okay, and I can't get this number out of my head, 1.7 trillion with a T of student debt load in America today. Okay, so yes, there are so many things to think about, from tuition to books purchases, to room and board, and any other related expenses, to choosing the right school and figuring out how to pay for it all. But if done well, it is very much worth it. So, Eric, my first question to you is, what does college planning entail?
Well, thanks again for having me on, MJ. I'm really glad we got a chance to do this series. Well, I guess to sum up what we've done in the last 3 episodes, we just went over all of how to fund college. We went over 10 different ways to fund college. We started off with grants and scholarships, which is the best way. And we went all the way through loans and 529 plans, and anyway, a bunch of them. And there's even more than that if you want to look that we didn't cover. But they were all ways that you can fund college. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, college planning is not college funding. Okay, college planning has 2 parts. It's making the college experience as rewarding as possible to the student. Okay, there's a lot to that. There's a lot to that, because if you really think about it, just like any other big decision, there needs to be a lot of thought put into it. You can't just haphazardly go into a marriage. You don't want to haphazardly just fall into retirement.
Yeah.
You certainly don't want to do that to college either, because what you'll have is a student that goes there and they're directionless. And instead of taking 4 years, they'll take 7. And instead of getting a degree that will be profitable and have a big return of investment, you'll have a person who winds up not using their degree when they finish. You don't want those things. You don't want to have thrown away tens of thousands of dollars. It needs to be thought out. College planning is about that. And then the second part of college planning is how to reduce the cost of the college experience. So we're going to look into those things. And that's what college planning is.
Right. So again, as you said, it's not just funding. It's everything from choosing where you want to go to school, to how am I going to fund it, from, okay, what are the industries that are going to be ready for the picking when I graduate? And it's a big undertaking. I mean, it's so many examples. And as you said, a lot of young person jump in wanting to do something they think that could be valuable. And midway into it, they realize, oh, no, that's not really what I wanted to do. And you have the other one where the parents are saying, okay, I'm paying, so I want you to be a doctor, so you're going. And that's a total failure as well, most of the time, right? So,
well, wait, no, the kids listen to parents all the time, don't they? I mean, come on.
Well,
right?
yeah. Well, yeah. Let's do that, and then you see what happened at the end, right?
Right.
Because fortunately, a lot of parents tend to leave their dreams to their kids, not realizing that that's not what the kids want to do.
That's right.
And of course, you will be, when you talk about the funding already. So, but it is a process, because if, as you said, started early enough, they could, we touch on about 9 to 10 potential funding options that are available. And of those, having to pay for your schooling was just a few of them. And I'm saying that to say that if you start early, you know that you want to go to college, so you're going to put your head in your books and you're going to get the good grades that would allow you to qualify for some of the options that we discussed in the past 2 shows. And when by the time you add this, the grants and the scholarship, you could have sufficient, or if you have to, we have to take a loan, for example, it wouldn't be as huge as it would have normally be if you had not started early looking for those options, which takes me to the second question. How does college planning make the college experience better?
Well, there's a lot of ways, okay? And the main way of looking at it is they're going to prepare the child for getting into and succeeding at the right college for them. Now, okay, you might be thinking to yourself, well, isn't that what student counselors do? I mean, at their high schools, I mean, that is what they're paid for. And believe me, I'm not trying to say student counselors don't do their jobs. There are hardworking people, they care about kids, but there's a lot of kids out there. And I used to be a teacher, and the school that I was at had 2,700 students. We had 4 counselors, one for 9th grade, one for 10th grade, one for 11th grade, one for 12th grade. Okay. And those counselors would go up when the 9th graders went up to 10th grade. They would become the 10th grade counselor, and so forth, all the way until the kid goes to and graduates. Well, just think about that. What does that divide into? You're averaging at least 600 kids per counselor. 600 kids a counselor. You think a few might fall through the cracks? Yeah. I mean, it would be pretty easy. And there's only so many hours in a day. And let's face it, the squeaky wheel will get the grease.
Oh,
if your
absolutely.
kid is one of the kids that don't advocate for themselves, they're not going to be heard. I can guarantee you this. When I graduated high school, my counselor did not know my name because I didn't know her name. Okay. I was not a person who was interested in talking to her. I was interested in playing ball, and that was it. Okay. So when you're at that age, you're not going to be thinking necessarily, some kids do, but of what do I need to be doing next for high school or for college? And especially at the time that you're thinking, you should be thinking it, which is not when you're a senior. It's when you're a freshman, when you're a sophomore. That's when you should be starting the college planning experience. Because if you wait until you're a senior, well, you've already missed all the opportunities that were there to be able to take the right classes, to be able to make sure that you have a good GPA, to be able to study for your SATs, all of those things. You're going to miss, you've already missed the opportunities for those things. So you need to start young. You need to start as soon as you get out of 8th grade, start going into 9th grade. That's when the college planning experience starts. And that's when to get with a professional college planner, because what they do is they hire a group of counselors, people who are actual counselors in high schools, and this is their side business. Okay. And believe me, if they get 10, 15, 20, they're going to give a lot of effort for those people because they're getting paid extra for that. And they're going to be able to give one-on-one tutoring specifically for these types of things. Like, for instance, which major to choose and how to know which one it is. Okay. Is it the right one that fits that person's personality? What they seemingly are good at? Is it something that's going to be good for return of investment? Are they going to make money from it? And are they going to just ditch it after 2 years of trying and wind up being a retail store manager or something like that? I mean, you want them to use their major. So I mean, let them use their degree. Okay, the next one is,
that's what you pay for, right?
Yeah, exactly. You also want to make sure that they're taking the right classes for that. You want to make sure that they maintain a high GPA, how to do it. Okay. Because there's methods to studying and that people just don't inherently know. They have to be taught this. Okay. How to get a good SAT or ACT score. Of course, if you're a freshman trying to get into a major university, you have a lot of competition. And just because you're sitting there with a 4.0 doesn't mean that you're going to get in. Right. I know that when I was a teacher, I was teaching at a very good high school, and there was a lot of kids in there that took IB classes and AP classes and all of these classes that gave them extra credit. So I knew a kid that had a 4.0 that was graduating at 200th in his graduating class. 200. That means 200 people had better GPAs than a 4.0 from just our school. So Hey,
Wow.
there's competition out there. So you need to make sure you understand how to be able to stand out,
Yeah.
because when the colleges are picking their people, they're going to have something that stands out. They're going to have to learn how to write a great essay, because they're going to have to write one. They're going to have to learn how to do the applications correctly. All of this, the counselors will help them with. All of this will be, instead of the child coming to the parent, they will have somebody who actually knows what they're talking about that they can call and find out how to do something, which is worth the money right there. Because let's face it, how many arguments are there going to be when the parents don't know what they're doing as far as how to write the essay? They don't know really. And I mean, that's not, hey, I'm sorry, I'm an engineer, I don't know how to write an essay, whatever. And they're asking.
But Eric, the sad part is that some parents think that they can.
Yeah. Oh, and now next thing you know, it's sorry, your application has been declined. It's like, wow, thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. So anyway, there's lots of other ones. There's learning how to choose the right college for majors, for culture. You want to go to a college that has the type of culture you want too, because not everybody fits in each college. For price and for return of investment. And also you want to learn what to look for and what to do at each college visit, because you're allowed, of course, to go visit these colleges. You don't want to waste your time. You want to find out things while you're on the college visit. It's important. And this is, again, something that happens in college planning. This is what the counselors are getting paid for. They'll tell you while you're there, look for this, this, and this, and this. And you'll be able to find out if this is the right fit for you.
Right. Well, that's great information. I could tell you, if I had that information available when my kids were getting ready to go to college, I mean, not that they did badly, don't get me wrong, but that information was not readily available to me as a parent. And I did the best I could, but, knowledge is power, as they say. Yeah. So I will urge every parent there who, well, I mean, now, as I said, having a first degree is a rite of passage. I mean, it's not a big thing anymore. You got to have it in order to have a reasonable standard of living, at least to have a seat at the table. Let's put it this way. So I will urge every parent to, the minute that your kid engage in this high school level, to get going, get them, explain to them the importance of thinking of what they want to be doing, what they want to be studying, way ahead of the game, because it is so, so important to plan, particularly if you want to have access to your school of choice. And the school of choice comes with the ability to pay for it. And then, of course, if you know where you want to go, if you know all of that information, then you could start looking for scholarship. Then you could start looking at the requirement. And of course, the kid would know that, you know what, in order to get there, I need to up my game. I got to get the good mark. And as you said, although it's not always indicative that you would get into your college of choice, but if you don't have any of it at all, well, you don't have any chances, period.
Right. Right.
So regardless of whether or not you're going to get, you got to put the work in, you got to get the grades, and you got to start planning for this very early in the game, which takes me to the last question for today's show, which is, how does college planning how does it reduce the cost of college?
Well, okay, let me tell you, there's several ways, which I'll get into in a minute, but the first and most important way is that, well, when people talk about college planning, they're going to say, well, they, of course, like I said, that's what their school counselor is supposed to be doing. Why do I have to pay more for extra counselors? I understand, you don't want to, you hate the idea of having to pay for it, but let's face it. What can you get for it is really, what type of value can you get for it is really what you should be thinking. If you pay a couple of $1,000s to a college planner, is it worth it if you can keep your kid from having to stay in college for another year. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, imagine if you had to pay for another full year of tuition, room and board, food costs, books, everything else associated with college because your student wasn't quite prepared to make the decision on which major. They decided to change majors, in the middle of the stream. They went in a different direction. I mean, you're talking about saving thousands of dollars. Or by doing college funding, if you could wind up having to be able to qualify for more scholarships and grants, how much does that save over just a couple of $1,000s it costs to do college planning with a person who can really help the student have a better experience in college and, of course, wind up saving you money? I mean, it's amazing how much more. The value is tremendous. But here's the way that it works. To reduce the college planning cost, or the cost for going to school, you need to learn the formula for student financial needs, which is the cost of admission minus the expected family contribution equals the student financial need. So, the cost of admission, you need to understand how much is the school going to cost. Okay, sometimes you can't help the school, but it might be expensive. I think I talked about it a couple of shows ago. My brother-in-law had a son. He qualified to get into Princeton. Great. That's fantastic. Unfortunately, it cost a lot of money. Okay. And they did not plan on their son going to an Ivy League school. They planned on him going to a in-state school. So it cost quite a bit of money. And I know they wound up spending quite a bit more than they were planning on for it. And so there's a lot of other effects that does for retirement planning and stuff like this because of it. So by planning ahead of time, to make sure that you're ready to do what you need to do so that the expected family contribution number is going to meet a better number so that the financial needs are easier to meet. And by doing that, what you have to do is you have to move some money around, okay, so that you qualify for scholarships and grants. If you move money into, for instance, an annuity or an index universal life plan from what was a retirement plan, you move it into there even for just a few years. By doing that, you now have sheltered the money from being seen by whoever's doing the plan for the grant or scholarship. Okay, that means that you can get more, qualify for more grants, more scholarships, and hopefully that will reduce the financial needs that you're going to have to pay in the end. Maybe that'll be less from whatever you have to pay in your savings account. Maybe it'll be less that you have to get loans for. Whatever, but whatever you can do to make sure that your expected family contribution to the people who are looking is less, okay, the much more or less it is, then that means you qualify for more grants and scholarships. So by knowing that little formula, that's a good start. Okay, then also learning how to find free money, because there's lots and lots and lots of scholarships and grants out there, and that unless people understand where they are, they'd never find them. It's like looking for a needle in the haystack. Then also learning, like I said, learning how to reduce your expected family contribution is the sheltering part of the money. And then learn how and when to fill out the free application for financial aid. You don't want to fill it out before you've moved the money. Okay, if you fill it out too soon, then it's too late. It's already turned in. Okay, you just missed the boat. That's why you don't want to wait until you're a senior also, because if you do, then you probably already filled that form out, and now you can't take advantage of yet another thing that college planning would have helped you with. So you start when you're a freshman. You start looking into all of these things that will help those students have a better experience. You get with their counselors, and you also get with their financial advisors about how you can reduce the cost.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's invaluable information there. I mean, while you were talking, my mind was ticking. I said, this could be, this alone is a curriculum for parents
It is. It
You
is.
know, just knowing how to go about it. Because, and again, and I'm almost sure that if more parents were attuned of, the intricacies of college application, I think that 1.7 trillion would be a different number, much, much smaller than it is now. Okay. And the sad part is that, as I said, your kids graduate with a mortgage around their neck without a house. Okay. That's mortgage money that they have to pay back, once they graduate. And the chances are that they're not even in a position to be able to have a reasonable standard of living, and having this big, ugly loan holding them back. It's traumatic. It could be traumatic at best. And of course, like everybody else, you want to have your family, you want to have the house, the good job, and that loan stands in your way. And this could have been prevented, if preparation for this was done way, way ahead of time. And as you mentioned, retirement is the same thing. So you cannot wait like 2 months before the big retirement party, or before the day that you decide, okay, that's it for me, to say, okay, let's see how am I going to figure that out when I retire.
That's right.
So no. So what you're signing on now is, okay, I am going to be working until I drop.
Yeah.
So it's very, I mean, this is very similar to the preparation that one has to make, as far as getting ready for college. So this, it's like, this show was really, really a great one, full of information, and a couple of acronyms that people must remember: the COA, or cost of admission, and the EFC, which stands for expected family contributions. These are two of the three that you must be very, I would say, closely intimate with. Mm-hmm. And in order to get that, you got to start early. And again, what you said to me today mean that don't hesitate to hire a professional. Get a counselor. Get somebody to guide you through the process. It's like learning how to drive. Somebody have to teach you how to change those gears. I don't care if it's an automatic or a stick shift. You still need somebody to train you how to do it, because if you just show up for the test, you're going to fail. How to do the parallel parking. Somebody have to give you the tips. So,
to me, it's like, I understand if you have a bicycle and you do your own maintenance on your bicycle, fine. What the bicycle cost? $200?
Right.
Big deal. But at college, you might be spending $150,000 on.
Easy.
And what if you don't understand at all how to do it? You certainly don't want to get under the hood and start working on that. It's like, let me go ahead and give it a tune up. Here, I'll go ahead and make, you start doing the maintenance on it, it's going to wind up costing you tens of thousands of dollars more.
Yeah.
Why not get a professional in there? Honestly, the amount of money that goes into college planning is a fraction of just a small percent compared to what you'll be paying anyway for college. Mm-hmm. So college is expensive. Have somebody who knows what they're doing help you with it to get the most out of it, and then hopefully also save you money too.
Yeah, because as we said, it's not a simple process. It's not just finding the money. It's knowing how to complete the form, and how to write your essay, and how to look for the relevant school, and guiding you as to, okay, what field you might want to get involved in. And I mean, it's a very specified, and I should say specific area, mm-hmm. specialized area, and there are people that they spend their lifetime doing that, helping people finding the right college. So don't hesitate. If it's something that you got to save for while the kids are in primary school, is set aside the money to hire a counselor that is going to help you, you know, put you on the path of really having a very, successful planning process to college.
Mhm.
Because you don't, I mean, it's a daunting thing. We know that, right?
Yeah.
But
And
you
this
want
is
you
something where
doesn't have to be doesn't have to be that hard. If you
right, right. Yeah, you don't like you were saying before, knowing the acronyms that, honestly, you don't have to know them. You just have to know that whenever your kid gets to being in 8th grade, you got to start looking for a college planner
yeah.
who's an expert at it. Interview them, make sure they have a great history of saving people money and getting kids super successful in their college experience, and then plan on hiring them sometime in the summer between 8th and 9th grade. Perfect plan right there. You do that, you'll probably spend a couple of $1,000s. That will be worth its weight in gold, because you'll have saved, even if they can't save you money in the actual college expenses, it'll save you so much money and headaches and heartaches
Yeah.
just from the whole planning that
Yeah,
happens
it would
to make
save
the
you.
experience so much better.
You can't put a price to this. I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm looking back to, as I mentioned to you, I lived in Bermuda for many, many decades, and my kids grew up there, were born and grew up there. And my daughter both my kids went to a private school, and I could tell you, for them to have their kids in that private school, they have to register the kid as soon as the kid is born.
Yeah.
Just stand a little chance of getting in. This doesn't even guarantee, and you have to put a deposit that you don't get back, whether or not they get in. So it goes to show you. So I mean, the child is not even born or just about to be born. You got to put their name down and put some dollars there if you want them to go to that specific little school. I'm talking about primary school to start with. So just imagine, it's not a cheap school either. So just imagine, as they grow up, clearly you are well intended. You want your kid to go to a good school, but there is a way of navigating those waters. And in that instance, a college counselor would be a definite asset to have in your pocket.
Oh yeah.
And of course, make sure that to plan for it. Put aside the money, and so this would save you a lot of heartache and a lot of headaches.
Yes.
Okay, so again, I'm going to wind it down. We told you for a little bit there, and I'll sum it up and say that today was the final episode of our student loan series, and Eric focused on and talked about college planning. He first talked about, he first defined the whole concept of college planning. Then he explained how college planning makes the college experience better. And lastly, he showed us how college planning helps reduce college cost. Okay? And so as I see it, college planning is stressful. No doubt about it. Prepared or not. There is no denying it, right? So the benefit of college planning far outweigh the stress, right? So college planning makes the college experience better and reduces the cost of college. To me, it's a win-win solution for all concerned. So by taking the time to plan for college, you will be able to choose the right school for your kid, get the most financial aid possible, and graduate with as little debt as possible. Okay, so that is why if you plan to go to college, start planning for it as early as possible, because the earlier you start, the more option you'll have and the more money you'll save. So don't wait, start planning for college today. So my last word would be college can be expensive. I will never stop saying that. It is. That 1.7 trillion is still floating in front of me, right? And planning for it is one of the most important steps you will ever take, I would say, in your life. So don't wait until it's too late. Okay, start today and get ahead of the curve. The earlier you start planning, the better off you will be. Okay, don't wait until your junior or senior year, as you said, of high school to start thinking about college. The process could be daunting and overwhelming if you try to do it all at once. So I will urge you to contact Eric to get started on your journey to a brighter future. In fact, Eric, I'm going to put your information there. So I'm running under the screen there. So I will say it again. Planning for college may seem daunting, but with the help of a professional like Eric, it is easier than you think. He will be more than happy to answer any question you may have and guide you through the entire planning process. And with his help, you are sure to secure a plan that best suits your needs and your circumstances. So I know I started to sound like a broken record, but I cannot say it enough. College is expensive these days. Don't let yourself be caught off guard. Don't let this very important expense meet you by chance. Start planning now and give your children the best possible opportunity for a bright future. Okay, so this brings us to the end of today's Merging Life and Money episode. Listeners and followers, I hope that you have not only enjoyed today's show, but also the entire student loan series. And as you know, I like to end my show with a quote. And today I have chosen to quote the great Malcolm X. And the quote reads, "Education is a passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." Okay, and as you may know, Malcolm X was a Black Muslim minister and human rights activist who was a prominent figure during the civil rights movement. Thank you, Eric, for your awesome contribution to the show for the past 4 weeks. We will meet again soon. I am very sure of that, for another great topic. Thanks again.
Thanks, MJ.
Eric, for more information about how to achieve financial wellness from the inside out and live a purposeful life with the money you have, join me next week, Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Mountain time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. Atlantic time for my Bermudian pips, 10 a.m. Friday, Brisbane, Australia time for my Australian friends. Thank you for being here today on the Merging Life and Money Show. I am your host, Marie-Jo César. I will be back again next week. Until then, continue merging life and money. Bye for now.